Welcome everybody to This Is Difficult, the world-renowned podcast about video games and video game-related things. We bring you all the best content on the web. I am Lord Yeshua, your co-host. They call me Josh in real life. Here on Paul's channel, it's Ryugami-san in the flesh, and we got another letdown. It's Zach in real life. Woohoo! That's maybe the best intro I ever did. Real life. That's the best intro I ever did.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
We're going to talk about video game and video game-related things, like I said, and we're going to kick it off with what we did this week. So we all played some video games. Who wants to go first? Hey, some of us not so much. Maybe
I didn't play much. I'm deep in the middle of recertification year for teaching. So I like this next couple of weeks is just miserable for convincing administrators to actually look at their inboxes and approve my professional development hours.
Sounds really terrible. I mean,
it's fine. I mean, it's a necessary evil. I've got more than the required number of hours by a long shot, but
perfect. It
does mean that gaming time does get a little restricted.
A little dwindly.
Yeah. But I played Arkham City and I played a little 30XX and
good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We got it in.
I didn't play a lot either. I had a family thing this week I had to go out of town for, and so I didn't play much, but I did. I'm continuing my my playthrough of the remake of Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. I'm really enjoying.
So good.
It's so good. I actually have some gripes about it. I might review the game.
Whoa.
I've got some gripes. Not huge gripes. Not huge gripes.
No.
They're very small. Let me just throw this out here.
Give it to us.
I'm not gonna give them to you now. I'll probably do a review.
Teasing, Paul.
But let me just say this. I think it's as close to a perfect remake as you could get.
I gotta know what's wrong with it.
I know. I can't
definitely
wait.
some problems. And when I mention the gripes that I have, I bet you anything you guys will entirely agree. No, really? I bet you guys will 100% agree.
Maybe, but that game's so beautiful.
It really is. It is that game a 10 in my mind, and then the remake was like an 11. I was like, this is so much better.
I mean, it's my favorite Zelda game. So that's probably why I'm so critical of it, is because it's always been my favorite Zelda game. And like I said, it's not bad. It does have a couple of flaws, and they're so minor. Like most people that aren't like freak obsessive people would be like, you're an idiot. But I'm betting you guys will agree with me because you're both big Zelda fans, and you're both big fans of that game in particular.
Yes.
So
I think for me, the game was such an enhancement from the old that I was like, it's just so good in every way, because like it was so not much worse, but like it was just not as enhanced back in the day. I'm like, every feature is just better.
So I was watching Adam play the original version the other day, and I popped out my cartridge for like 2 minutes. I was just like, I'm gonna jam this for a couple minutes.
It's so fun.
I immediately
like 2 hours
and went to the Switch version.
Yeah, I think that I would just want to play the Switch version now.
I do, and I love the Game Boy version. It was great.
Aside from the aesthetic, and it would have been cool actually. Just put a pin in that. It would have been cool to have an old school mode where you turned the graphics with maybe the new mechanics, but like the graphics are old school. That's the only thing I would miss. There's
a game that does that. That's really cool. It's Dragon Quest 11. On the Switch, and actually I think they are releasing the special edition or like the complete edition on everything else sometime this year. But the Switch version allows you to play the entire game in either full 3D or classic, like Dragon Quest top down.
That's really rad.
16-bit. It's super fucking cool, and you can switch in between at any time. So that's really rad. But yeah, so I played, and actually, Zach, when I was playing Zelda the other night and you were in my stream, you may have heard me mention the gripes that I have. And like I said, they're extremely minor.
Full disclosure, Paul, I was playing D&D while you were playing.
Okay. Well, good. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Brutal.
Anywho.
I mean, to elaborate on that, my character is a combat specialist. So on days like Tuesday, when the party is just doing talking, I have been expressly told your character isn't allowed to talk. So I'm just like, all right, I guess I'm just going to watch Paul while we play.
He's not the most charismatic.
That's so rude.
He has a negative charisma modifier. Like this is partially my decision also. Like
He's like offensive. It was not. You're like, stop.
Yeah. That's exactly correct. He's ugly even for a lizardman. So
poor guy.
He's got an ugly personality.
But he has a big heavy thing that he hits things with, and he hits things hard. So
okay, cool.
I'll take it.
That's so funny.
Awesome.
Let's see. Did I play any other games this week? I did. I played Ghost of Tsushima on my PS5.
Again? On PS5, which you have now.
He's got one.
I got a PS5.
It happened, you guys.
It finally happened. It arrived earlier this week, and
awesome.
It arrived on Monday, and it's awesome. It's awesome. Let me just say, like, I've got a killer computer. It's like a really damn powerful computer, and Destiny 2 both looks and runs better on the PS5 than it does on the
PS5.
So
that's crazy. Of course you got Destiny 2 a 10th time.
Of course he did.
No, I owned it already. So
on the PS5?
Well,
it's PS4.
Once you poop it up, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I don't have the expansions on PS5. I just jumped on to like test it out, like the current expansion. I have all the previous ones, just not the current expansion. But I probably will get them and play off stream with my PlayStation friends on there. Yeah,
I was gonna say the connection's probably better with a smaller community.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, no, the community. Well, you know what? I think now the community is bigger on
PC.
PC, but it wasn't for a really long time. PlayStation had by far the largest community. Because for all of Destiny 1 and most of Destiny 2, Sony had like an exclusive deal where certain strikes and weapons would come out a year early on PlayStation before anything else. That finally changed when they dropped Activision and everything got brought up. A lot of people then migrated to PC when they implemented the cross save.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like that was the thing, is most players, even though PC existed for an entire year before all this stuff happened, they, a lot of people didn't switch over because their characters were on PlayStation, right? And so until cross save became a thing, a lot of people didn't make that switch. But I think with the new consoles, because of the amount of cheaters that are on PC, we're seeing another big shift back to these next gen consoles, especially because they play so well. And it's much harder to cheat on a console than it is on a PC.
So I mean, on the topic of you getting your PS5, like I said it before, I'm probably not going to get a console this generation, but like one of my students brought in one of the PS5 controllers. He did what you did. He got the controller before he got the console.
Yeah,
of course.
And he was trying to just Bluetooth the controller to his Chromebook, which doesn't work. But because on the district level we restricted that anyway. That's all I'm going to say on that student. But he let me, just mess around with the controller. And I'm like, oh dang, this is really comfy.
It's so
like this is the first PlayStation controller that I've genuinely been like, this is more comfortable than the Xbox controller.
It's such a well-designed controller. Like,
it's a really well-designed.
I mean,
controller.
It's not like much to look at per se, but it feels really good, and it's very sleek.
It's modern.
And like, I won't even. I know you've probably heard it from everyone else, but I'll just reiterate it, and it probably won't have the same effect on you until you actually feel it for yourself. But the like adaptive triggers and like the motion sensitivity and the like HD rumble kind of stuff technology that's in this controller will blow your freaking mind.
It's off the chain. It's
off
absolutely
the chain,
great.
and you can't even like without. You can hook this up to a computer and play, right? Doesn't have those features. It only has those features on the PlayStation. When you hop on the PlayStation and feel it, like there's a game they designed that's basically just a demo to show you all the features of the controller, but it's actually kind of a fun little platformer. It's called Astro's Playroom. And you hop into that, and like the first thing it does is do like a full controller demo. and you're just like dumbfounded immediately. And then like the game, you just don't stop playing it because it's not only, like I said, it's a fun little platformer, pretty simple, but like it's just really cool feeling how immersive that controller makes a game.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm actually very excited to see what other games do, if third party developers latch onto it or not. Certainly first parties will, but we'll see.
Yeah. And I saw like rumors and stuff that, oh, hey, look, maybe Spider-Man coming to PC. And I was like, whatever, fine. Like, I do want to play Spider-Man at some point, but, I might have to it runs on PS4, so I'll probably just borrow a PS4 from somebody who has like my buddy John. I said, I don't know if I mentioned this. He got his PS5 the same day you did.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, oh, maybe I borrow his PS4 and play Spider-Man. Because that'd be pretty cool.
Now no one cares about that.
I hear that game's freaking amazing.
I watched a long play of it, and oh my god, it's so good.
I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan, but Adam, like that was Adam's game of the year, I want to say, when it came out, like over God of War, and I was like,
that's
really, man? Like God of War was fucking good.
Yeah, God of War's super good, but
those are two different kinds of games completely. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But Adam also is like the biggest. Like he swings from Marvel's nuts and always has. And like everything they do.
Now wait a minute, Paul. Like, does Adam have signed copies of original Daredevil issues?
Probably. Yeah, probably he does.
That's Daredevil number 6, right above it, just out of my reach. Is Daredevil number 1.
Well, I'm here. Okay, speaking of Daredevil, this is the level of like Marvel apologist he is. Like every time a Marvel movie comes out... Don't you dare
knock on the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie.
No, I'm not even joking. Okay. Every time a Marvel movie comes out, he's like, that's the best movie I've ever seen. Literally, like the Daredevil with freaking Ben Affleck comes out, and he's like, this is the best. This is the best movie I've ever seen. This should win an Oscar. I'm like, what? Did we just watch the same movie? Granted, I think the Elektra movie was actually really good. I thought it was markedly better than. He's like, no, for real. He'll be like, but the director's cut. You got to watch the director's cut.
The director's cut is amazing.
Like, the director's cut's amazing. I'm like,
so
get the fuck out of here.
It's not Charlie Cox, but it's way better than the original theatrical cut.
Yeah. Okay.
It is.
Yeah. Anyhow, that's how Adam is when it comes to Marvel stuff. Funny. In case anyone was wondering. But I digress. Let's see. So that's pretty much all I played this week was those 3 games. And yeah, like I've messed around with the PlayStation. I honestly haven't messed around with it as much as I would like to. And I actually don't own a game for it yet that is like an official PlayStation 5 title. Right. So like I own games that run on it and they run exceptionally well. Like I said, Ghost of Tsushima and Destiny 2 run amazingly on it, and they're gorgeous. But they're not like exclusive PlayStation 5 games, so I need to pick one up. I haven't had a chance yet, but
which is, that just lends credence to my theory that consoles are a dying breed, because things are still just getting developed for everything, including last gen. Like, what are the big draws to move?
For a PS5
or an Xbox Series X, like
there's nothing for Xbox Series X.
There's nothing for Xbox Series X.
There's nothing.
Literal zero.
The thing about Xbox Series X is like if you have a gaming PC, here would be the motivation for Xbox Series X. Game Pass if you can't afford a gaming PC but you can afford an Xbox Series X. Right? So that's it, because Game Pass is the most amazing deal in gaming, period.
Absolutely.
But if you can afford a gaming PC, get Game Pass, and then you don't need an Xbox ever.
Exactly.
Where when it comes to Sony, I still believe that Sony has an incredible first party, like lineup of games.
I don't know. They killed it for me last gen.
I thought
did fine. It feels so repetitive now. I don't know.
It does.
I don't
agree.
Everyone says God of War is the best thing, but I swear this is my least favorite God of War.
Yeah, I know.
I say that.
Josh, don't hurt me.
I know you feel that way. You've expressed that.
But it's just
before.
like I like loved what they did in the beginning, and then I feel like a lot of their games is kind of like they're trying to reinvent it in ways that I don't know. I don't know if it
so
hits
the
whole
one thing I will say that I think PlayStation leaned too far into last gen was movie games.
Yeah, I hated
so,
that.
So like games
Uncharted
that
was good, but then I was like,
yeah. Right. So games that are supposed to feel like you're watching a movie.
Yeah. I'm not down. Like, there's a distinct difference between games that feel like a movie and games that tell a good story.
Yeah.
Gears of War, as much as I think it's been optioned as a movie, should never be a movie.
Yeah.
Because of that immersion. Like, there's an immersive experience there that you will never capture in that way.
Yeah. I mean, that is something I said. Like I said on this podcast about God of War, was that was the best movie I played all last year. Like that's an actual quote that I had on that. So like I think that's something that Sony does a little too much with their first party studios. Do I think that means they don't still put out amazing games? No, I think they still have the potential and still have enough really strong first party developers to put out amazing games. So and right now I think they're at the forefront. Like the thing about Nintendo is they only have a first party draw, right?
Yeah. Right.
I can hop on the PlayStation 5 and play, you know, all the third party games that are on every console, and it's going to be the best, you know, possible experience at this current time. And then also whatever, you know, first party things they have to offer. When it comes to first party games on when it comes to third party games on the Switch, other than indie games, like indie games, I think are pretty solid on the Switch. But other than that, I only will want to play first party Nintendo games.
That's the reason I have a Switch. Yeah.
So,
but it does have first party games that, in my opinion, are better than other platforms' first party games. It's like it has more of you get that draw for that, but it's also the best draw. Like PlayStation has a lot of that, but still eventually it comes to PC.
I think currently they are. I think Nintendo has gone in ebbs and flows. Like I didn't play a single fucking game on the Nintendo Wii. Not a single one.
You missed out then.
Yeah, I know. There's a couple decent games. There's a couple decent games, but that's the problem.
Galaxy
just a couple.
1 and 2.
Yeah, Galaxy 1 and 2 and the Zelda games are like the only games worth playing on that
But
console.
again, the only Zelda game you missed out on would have been Skyward Sword, because Twilight was on the GameCube. Skyward Sword is about to be on the Switch. So
and I've also been playing it on my Wii U. Yeah. So so yeah, I don't know. I just think that like relying on Nintendo to always nail it with the first party is not as sound an investment as we might think it is right now, just because they are nailing it with the first party stuff right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
anyway. It's getting shaky though with the first party stuff and Nintendo also. Like the future is uncertain now because they're changing so much.
Yeah, if Zelda keeps going the way it's going, then that might lose me.
If Breath 2 is literally the same thing, I don't even know.
Yeah, I still think they're doing great with Mario. I think they're doing great with Mario.
Mario is crushing it. Actually, and like with Bowser's Fury, I'm more certain than ever that the direction they're going is like really huge.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. And even Odyssey was an amazing game.
Oh my God.
I know Colin doesn't like it, but I freaking love that game.
I can't understand. I love that game so much.
It's because it is such a gimmick mechanic that like I think it's amazing when you get used to it, but like it almost
the cap thing.
Yeah, because he's more used to like 64 with no gimmickal mechanic.
Okay, but like I mean, every time they do it in 3D, Mario,
was the gimmick in 64.
There's always 64 is what?
Being in 3D was the gimmick in 64.
Right, exactly.
Sunshine had Flood, and then Galaxy had the world effect, Starbits and Gravity, and then Odyssey is the hat. I loved it, but I will say there's something about Bowser's Fury that like it really gets this formula like so close to almost absolutely perfect, because Odyssey was like these individual worlds. There's no hub world, so it felt kind of sad. And you're like jumping around getting thousands of moons and it's so overwhelming. But Bowser's Fury is like the whole world was explorable. And you go to a new area and you're like, oh, there's like this new like puzzle area, and like I don't know, it felt more like Zelda meets Mario, and I feel like that's a great direction. But like bring us more Odyssey style stuff too. But like Colin said it really good. He was like, the open world was the hub world. That's why it worked so well.
Yeah.
Love that quote.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're gonna do an open world, that's how you should do it with Mario. Anyway, But yeah,
I guess
it was really good.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is like the idea, with the exception of Nintendo, the idea of first party games is kind of disappearing.
Yeah.
Yes and
kind of.
no.
They're all kind of flooding into.
I think that's definitely what Microsoft is trying to do is make that disappear. I think Sony and Nintendo are going to hold on to that as long as they possibly can, though.
Nintendo, especially.
I've been so out of touch with Sony that, like, because I haven't had a PlayStation since PS2, and so I don't even know what their first party titles are anymore. They're all so similar in my mind to any other title that's not first party, that I just forget that they're PS exclusive.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah, I dig it. Josh, did you play any video games this week? I think we skipped over you.
Sorry, Josh.
I played quite a bit. So me and Colin finally beat Champions Road with Toad and Luigi the other night. Third try. It was amazing. Nice. We were so focused. It was amazing. That was like one of the better feelings in gaming recently. So that was awesome. And then we are currently playing through Majora's Mask co-op. I know I'm not streaming any of this. I'm going to get one in soon. I promise. We're streaming Majora's Mask co-op, and it's called Faster Quest is the mod on it. So it allows us to not only play together on the same file, but it skips cutscenes, and it allows, what else was it? It skips the first day, where you get the ocarina, and it like takes like
cool.
it skips the whole like first interaction with Majora. So it's really awesome. We're going for 100%. Why not? And then of course. I've been playing a little bit of Donkey Kong using the rewind feature to get like a perfect fucking record just for fun to see what I can do without glitching or anything. And then the big game that, aside from Kirby, but that was kind of last week. The big game that I wanted to test out this week, because it was literally $2 on G2A. Can I talk about G2A on here? Is that allowed? It's fine, right? That website is pretty much certified by someone. A friend of mine got this game on G2A and gifted it to me, and it was only $2, he said. So he said, why not? But Ukulele, we're not talking about the first one, Garbage Fire, and we're not even going to discuss
whatever.
Why.
That's Colin's favorite game.
It's Colin's favorite game, absolutely.
I won't shit talk it. But the second one, no. The second one is, instead of being an open world 3D Banjo-Kazooie alike, it really went for being like Mario meets Tropical Freeze specifically. Like, it really feels like a lot of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze aspects with a ukulele paint coat over it. So I was like, interesting. It's going to be a hardcore platformer, so I'm going to get this. $2 for my friend. He gifted it to me. And it's really interesting. There's a lot of dialogue that I really don't enjoy in this game, and just like really weird story, and I wish it was just levels, but the levels are pretty awesome. Like, as a fan of Donkey Kong, I feel like the platforming is actually pretty tight. Pretty good. If you want something that's cheap right now and like a pretty good rush for platforming, I would check it out. I might review that game, but I don't know. There's definitely a ton of flaws with it too. So
yeah, I've heard good things about like the core gameplay.
Yeah, the core, because there's also an auxiliary gameplay aspect where the overworld, the hub, which is great to have one, but it's so spread out, like literally like Link's Awakening. Like, and each area, it takes like a different form of puzzle / like collecting something to unlock this next area just to get the next chapters, instead of just being like level like you want. It's like kind of got an overworld aspect like Link's Awakening. It's kind of neat, but it's also kind of stupid, because then you're like, I have to like go all over the place. Did I open this? Did I not even do that? Oh, I got a new mechanic. Now do I have to go back to all the fucking old areas just to like, it's kind of annoying. And the collectibles and the levels feel kind of cold and barren. It's like, collect 5 coins. And I'm like, that's fun. Like 5 coins. I don't know. I'm going to save more for, it's just like really like, there's nothing personal about the game. Like Ukulele feels like such a corpse of a brand to me.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
You really try to be Banjo and Kazooie, but it's Banjo-Kazooie. My biggest gripe is that that's 2 instruments and ukulele is just 1 instrument. Like, they totally fucked that up. Come on. Tambourine and ukulele. Like, I don't know. Tambourine and cymbal. I don't
Tambourine.
But ukulele, I get what they were trying to do, but it's like a partial shout out. But like this is the franchise that tried so hard to be another franchise and other franchises completely that it just like missed what it was. It's like, here's all these shout outs. And it's like, cool, what are you?
Yeah.
Like, what are you as a game? Like,
that seems to be the big thing, is it was like they were trying to, like, it's all these Rareware employees that created this studio, and their goal was to like relive Banjo-Kazooie, and they leaned too hard into that instead of just making a good platformer.
It's so hard. Yeah, they were just like, what are all the things we can shove into this to make it feel like Banjo-Kazooie and like Conquer and all that stuff? And it's like, no, it turns out you put too much in it and it like doesn't have any of the essence of what it could be. Yooka-Laylee really could have hit the mark if they focused on level design, basic like concepts. Like Banjo-Kazooie was so good because it was basic. Basically a focal point in a level and then an entire level around it, and then you collect basic collectibles and learn moves as you went. There's nothing more to it than that, and it just was so pure and good. And Yooka-Laylee went so hard, and it's like you really missed the mark by a long shot. Anyway, that's all I got to say on that shit. But I'll review that game eventually. But yeah, so I played a little bit. It was fun. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. Speaking of reviews, I got one.
Yes.
I got one. Really? You're kidding.
This is a game that I played a long time ago, so long ago that my footage expired on Twitch.
Wow.
So we're using borrowed footage from a YouTuber called Sheen Walsh. So if you want to check out the original footage, check that out. But I'm going to switch over to the review thing. Here we go. All right. So this is a review of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And this is a game that is about a order of Jedi that has fallen.
What?
No.
Let me actually pull up the notes real quick.
Fallen, I can't get up.
It's the most recent Star Wars like full-length game that isn't Battlefront and doesn't suck.
Yeah. When was the last one? Was it on the Wii? Was it Force Awakened or whatever? No, it's not called Force Unleashed. Was that really the last time that we got this?
Yeah, and that was on every platform, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I remember it specifically on the Wii because
but it was eventually on everything.
Yeah. So let's see. Jedi Fallen Order. It was developed by Respawn, which, if you know who Respawn is, they're the people behind Titanfall.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Stamps it for greatness.
Which, dude, Titanfall 2 is one of my all-time favorite shooters, period. It's such an amazing game. And it was slept on, man. Like, I don't know why. That game was not a very successful game.
No, that game should have been way bigger.
It was like a sleeper, for real. And it is amazing. Like, not only is the combat in the game super fun and the multiplayer super fun, which I think is what most people go to, but it has some of the best, one of the best first-person shooter campaigns I've ever played in my life.
Yeah,
I think the issue was it got overlooked so hard because the first one was pretty bare bones. Like I remember playing it at my friend's house, and I was like, "This is everything to this game."
Yeah,
like that's kind of how I felt about Overwatch too. But like the second one came hard, but like everyone was like,
there was that. It was also the release window was really bad, and it released right alongside the Battlefield game of that generation.
Okay.
So
yeah, it was. I remember them being.
And also like Call of Duty, it was like sandwiched right in between them, and it was just like, what are you doing?
Anytime Battlefield comes out, it's huge. I feel like.
So
that's like massive. Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. It's that company. It's that studio which is owned by EA, which is why they.
Turd sandwich it sometimes.
Yes, but Respawn's had like a obviously a pretty good track record. So this was their first like non-first person shooter game though. And I think they did overall a pretty damn good job. This game came out on November 15th, 2019. It came out on every platform for the most part, I believe, except for Nintendo Switch, because EA really doesn't like Nintendo.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well,
they're not huge fans of Nintendo.
It's weird because they would sell a lot on a child's console. Like not to call Nintendo.
Well, they're starting to open
the Sims. Of course they would.
Yeah, they're starting to open up to them because of their sales. But like early on with the Switch, they wanted nothing to do with it.
Can you imagine if they put the Sims on the Switch? It's like so stupid not to have that in Animal Crossing.
It's like the perfect thing to put.
Like, what?
Yeah. Well, I watch people play Animal Crossing. I'm like, I'd just rather play The Sims.
Honestly, yeah. After seeing more of The Sims recently, I'm kind of like, it has more to like access and potential than Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is like, how much can you make your life awesome? Like you're this guy and you make your life awesome. And The Sims is how can you make like a creation, a civilization, and be God?
How can you make these guys' lives miserable?
Those are both
it's more like
games.
playing God.
Yeah, they're both awful games, Paul. But like,
let's wait till we get to Burnout. Let's wait till we get to the subject.
Actually, I like Burnout. Oh wait, we're not talking about.
We're not that. No, I'm saying. It's like wait till we get to the subject tonight. We'll talk about these games.
Yeah,
more.
I'm cool with that. All right.
I'm certain.
All right, so back on the Star Wars review.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. So I played this on PlayStation, on PS4. It was funny, actually. My brother and I both got it for each other for Christmas the year it came out.
That's
so
fun.
That was funny.
Could have just bought it for ourselves.
It's a better as a gift.
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty fun. It is free to play on Game Pass now and on EA Play.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get it for $50 generally. I believe it's also on sale right now on Steam for $25.
Yeah.
So what did I like about the game? The game is a really fun Star Wars game. It's got a fun Star Wars story about, fun Star Wars characters in a fun Star Wars universe.
That's all we ask.
Really well executed for the most part.
Now, is it first party or like primary characters, or is it like a weird corner case?
Are you made up? Basically?
There are some primary characters in the game, but not very many.
I see. I like that.
And
is the story arc itself canon, or is like the story arc itself completely made up?
The story arc is canon. Yeah.
Like Disney canon or EU canon?
Disney canon, because this came out any property that came out after Disney.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's right. That's true. Yeah.
Is
very interesting. Okay, so it's almost worth playing for a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Just on that alone, really.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So let me look at something real quick. How weird is that? Sorry, you just have like some. Josh looks purple here. I don't know why.
Usual.
I don't think I can fix it. But anyway, back
Josh,
on the
I told you to stop eating Barney.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying. He's delicious. Shut up in the closet.
I think I'm just tripping. I swear I didn't have mushrooms on that pizza.
I think the shrooms are finally hitting, bro.
Anyway, what I liked about the game, like I said, it's just a really fun Star Wars story. It's kind of like if Star Wars did like a Souls-like game, like a Dark Souls.
Oh, very cool. Okay. That's awesome.
Which is fun. But also mixed it with like a Metroid, or like a Metroidvania kind of thing.
Dude, it's crazy because like Souls-like is like actually like a term like Metroidvania now. I've seen that used, like it's like now a genre name is like this game is a Souls-like. It's like, that's like how awesome this like type of genre is.
Okay, I need to write that down as a topic suggestion too, because
how genre.
Well, right, but like
genre defining games.
When someone says to me, "Hey, this game is like X," I'm thinking, why don't I just play X? But like if someone says it's a Metroidvania, I want to play that. Or if it's Souls, like I want to play that.
Yeah.
So I want to get that some thought before we make that a full topic. But like that's
cool.
That's
I actually like that. Yeah, but genre defining, in fact, yeah. But it's cool when you can say like this game is a Souls like, and you're immediately like, so I'm gonna die, lose a shit ton of stuff. It's gonna be intensely hard, like all of that stuff. And mechanics are perfect.
What's great is it's both. It's both a Souls like and a Metroidvania.
See, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's actually really good. Yeah.
Really Hollow Knight.
Let's see. But here's where we get to what I didn't like about the game. What I did not like about the game was its polish. There is, as far as like graphically, the game is absolutely gorgeous. But when it comes to some of the mechanics of the game, it is rough. The combat is not as clean and as smooth and as deliberate as any other Souls-like game that I've played. So that gets, you get used to it after a while, and it's not game breaking. It doesn't completely ruin the experience for you, but it does kind of suck sometimes.
Kind of gets you killed a lot, probably.
Yeah, it does. Like, you can't cancel certain animations and things like that. Things that are kind of like essential for that, super precise style of gameplay.
Yeah.
So, and then there's a couple like weird animation things. Like I know that when I was playing it, I think it was you, Zach, who kept commenting on how ridiculous he looks when he's running.
Oh my God, he looks so dumb when he's running, and the lightsaber is like it's looks like it's just glued to his hip. It doesn't swing at all.
Yeah. So there's just some weird.
It just sticks out at an odd angle.
And awesome. Most of these things seem like stuff that could have been patched, and they never were. Like I started the game when I first got it, which was in like December of 2009 when it came, or 2019, sorry, when it came out. But I didn't finish it then. I picked it up like literally December of 2020, like a year later, and played through it. And these things had not been fixed, and they're things that you would think could just be easily patched. So that was kind of a bummer, to be honest. Though again, didn't ruin the game.
Right.
The gameplay's really fun. Other than that, the art is fantastic. There's certain set pieces in and like cinematics in the game that absolutely freaking stunning, absolutely stunning. And you feel like this is like a really good representation of like the Star Wars universe. The music's great. Awesome. It feels Star Warsy the entire way through. John Williams-esque. I don't know who composed it, but for the most part, it's very Star Warsy.
Mm-hmm.
Sound design is fine. Everything sounds like a fucking lightsaber. Like it's fine. Like it's got like the good Industrial Light and Magic sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How long did it take me? Gosh, it's been long enough since finishing it. It's been a couple months since finishing it. I think it took me like maybe 2 weeks. I don't know hours wise. Yeah, 20 to 30 hours maybe. That's a guess. Right. Playing it on stream pretty consistently. It honestly wasn't as long as I wanted it to be. That was a thing that I was like,
that's one of my least favorite things about the game.
And I was like, wait, that was it. Like that was really great, but like I want another like 5 to 10 hours at least.
That happened to me at the end of Gears 5.
Yeah. So that I say would be another slight shortcoming. Was the game difficult? Yes. And it has several difficulty settings, so it can be pretty much as difficult as you want it to be. The normal difficulty, I would say if you're used to Souls-like games, not that bad. It's not that difficult compared to other Souls-like games. Now, if you're not, because I remember when I first played this game, I had not played Sekiro yet. I had not played, it had been a long time since I had played a Souls game. I hadn't played any of the Neo games, or I hadn't finished any of the Neo games, I should say. And so I wasn't really, accustomed to playing Souls-likes. Now, in this case, when I came back to it, I had played Neo. I had finished, I finished Neo. I had played Sekiro. Like I'd played some more, of the regular Dark Souls games and stuff. So it was just like, okay, this is kind of a piece of cake once I got used to it. Honestly, the thing that held me back the most was the clunky, battle mechanics. Is what held me back the most. So, that was kind of a bummer. But like I said, you could make it as hard as you want. I know there's several more difficulty modes above what I played it on. I just played it on the standard, which is what I generally do first playthrough of any game. I'm not trying to crank it to 11 on my first playthrough.
We were talking about that on watching Paint Dry last night. Is like when I'm doing a game for myself, I usually tune it to the normal mode because that's what it's called normal for a reason.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I like. The developers are expecting that this is like the average player. This is what you can handle.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm playing co-op with someone, I usually ramp it up one speed.
Yeah. Overall rating and impression. This is an incredible game. Oh wait, would you play a sequel? Absolutely, and I believe a sequel is in the works.
Oh, it makes sense.
So.
Jedi Risen Order.
Hopefully, right?
Oh my God, go to bed.
Hopefully they fix the, like the battle mechanics, and just clean it up a little bit. If they do, it'll be an amazing game, and I'll definitely play it. I'm looking forward to it. Mm-hmm. Overall rating and impressions, I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
Okay, that's solid.
Solid, yeah.
Because exactly. It is a solid game. It is a really good game. It has a good story. It's a beautiful game to look at, but it does just have a few shortcomings. So I can't give it a 9. I can't give it a 10. I think an 8.5 is pretty fair for this game.
Solid. That's fair.
Is it worth buying the current price or waiting for a sale, or should you skip it? Like I said, if you have Game Pass or EA Play, you've got it. You can play it on whatever, platform that you have access to, which actually EA Play can work on your PS5 now. So if you've got an EA Play subscription, you've got access to any EA games on the PS5, which is pretty rad. So then $50 is, I think, at this point, it being a slightly older game, a little much. But like I said before, it's on sale for $25 on Steam right now. I think that's totally fair. It is definitely a worthwhile game worth playing. So, check it out if you haven't. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I installed it a couple days ago. I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I think you're gonna have a really fun time. But it does have its shortcomings. That's
absolutely. I mean, my complaints. I watched you play it, so it's like I know what I'm going to complain about.
Yeah, you know what you're in for. Yeah. You know what you're in for. Anyway, that wraps up my review of Jedi Fallen Order.
Excellent.
And thunderous applause.
Switch back to the thing.
Excellent.
Sword applause.
Boom. There we go. Josh is back. Josh is always the last to pop in there. Boop. Yep. We got him now. Moving on to our topic.
Yeah.
What is our topic? Our topic is, it still says formative games in here. So
well, it's
Burnout.
Gaming Burnout.
Yes.
Gaming Burnout. Now, this is something that I think has multiple connotations to it.
It definitely does. As a matter of fact, when Shamali and I were talking about it before the show, we actually had this outlined for 2 completely different topics, and it still might end up being. But it's like, I was thinking back on the games that I've gotten almost all the way through, or even, into end game content, and just been like, I can't be arsed to finish this.
Yeah.
I just don't care anymore. I played when I was in college, and the reason I'm nostalgic to this point was I played BioShock right after I played Arkham Asylum, the original Arkham Asylum.
So
I had finished Arkham Asylum, beat that stupid Joker fight that is really not a Joker fight. And I was like, okay, great. I need a new game. Here's BioShock. I'm going to play this. My roommate and I played me playing and him watching over my shoulder for almost the entire game. We got into the final boss fight, and I looked over at him and I said, I don't care. I don't care about this world anymore. I'm stopping. I'm done. And it wasn't even that it was a hard fight. I was like halfway through it. I'm like, don't care. Lost focus. Lost interest.
That fight was lackluster, I might say.
What was that? Sorry.
That fight was lackluster in your defense.
Exactly. Yeah. It was a dumb rule of threes fight, and I had run out of resources, so I was going to die, and I was going to have to go back and get more, and end up grinding for more. And I was like, I can look up the ending on YouTube now. I played the entire game. I don't care. And I was thinking about it, and that's happened to me on several games at this point. I keep saying I'm going to go back and play Hollow Knight, and I love that game. I don't care.
One I got burnt on. That's one that I got super burnt out on, because everyone was like, when I was streaming it, amazing game, incredible. And I knew that there was more, and there was so much lore, and I was like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to play. There's 7 endings or whatever, 5 to 7 endings, and they're all more incredible than the last. And I beat the ending. No spoilers. I'll be fine. And I was like, that was so gratifying. I feel like I got such a good experience out of this game, and I tried to play, and it's just there's no will to go on.
Right.
Often post game has to be really immediate and gratifying and give you story incrementally, or post game has to be really something to grab onto. in order for me to like keep playing after. That's usually when I get burnt out, is on the post game.
Yeah, admittedly, that's most frequently when it happens to me too.
Yeah.
I'll have completed some subset of goals, and I'm just like, I don't feel like playing this anymore. I'm just
for me,
done.
it's games that have too complicated of like crafting systems or like materia in Final Fantasy VII even was like just a little too like if I'm playing a game where I'm spending more time like building stupid shit or like like tinkering with stuff that doesn't drive the story forward than I am actually playing the game and experiencing the story of that game, I'm gonna get burned out really fast. And that happens to me a lot, like particularly with RPGs or and that's not to say that I don't really love RPGs. There's plenty that I do, but there's also been plenty that I get into it and I start to realize, oh, I need to invest more time in figuring out how these systems work. And then I start doing that and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on in the story, and I'm putting too much effort into the stupid build.
It just breaks your concentration on what's actually important. I play games, as most of you know, for the story. I want as much out of the story as I can possibly get, which is why I love things like Hollow Knight, where the story is very like obscure. It's like high level, and I have to put it together myself. And when I played that on stream, I was like, okay, I need to actually like focus on this. I don't want I've talked about this before. I don't want to deal with camera brain on this. I just want to sit down and enjoy this for myself. And quite frankly, I haven't had a chance to sit at my computer and play more. What I really ought to do is get it on Switch. So
I had the same issue with the Messenger, right? So like the Messenger is like playing two separate games completely.
Yeah.
So the first half of the game is like an old school. It switches between 8-bit and 16-bit throughout the story. But it's like a Ninja Gaiden-esque, game, right? It's very cool. It's linear. It's an awesome game. And then once you beat the first half of the game, it becomes a Metroidvania out of nowhere.
Very
right?
cool.
It's cool, but when I was playing it on stream, I did not have the time to sit and figure out like how to backtrack through all these different levels and do that kind of like Metroidvania kind of thing. And I stopped playing it completely. And I haven't picked it back up. And so like, which is a bummer because like the first half of that game I freaking loved. And I'm sure I would like the rest of it if I had the time to deal with it. But, at the time that I was playing it, I didn't. And, I just kind of moved on. I do recommend that game if you like those styles. Like a lot of us recently played Cyber Shadow, which was a fucking great game.
That game, I still got to finish that game too.
It's so good, and it's very similar in a way. I would say it's not as hard as Cyber Shadow, but sometimes it gets close. But
the reason I didn't finish Cyber Shadow is because 30XX came out. I was like, oh, this is more important. But
man, Cyber Shadow's so good.
Cyber Shadow's amazing. I'm stuck at the point where you have to kind of hack your way through the purple junk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's tough. But it's really just because I haven't had enough time to sit down and focus it on it.
Right.
I'm definitely not burnt out on that game. I could play that game forever.
Yeah. When it comes to burnout in gaming, though, I've experienced it at a higher level a few times as well.
Go on.
So rather than just being burnt out on a specific video game, I've been burnt out on video games in general. There's been certain points in my life where I've literally gone a couple of years without picking up a video game. Like not a single one, and it doesn't happen often, but it certainly has happened. And that's something that as a streamer now, I try and really mitigate. Like I try and make sure that I'm not like resenting playing video games or like, putting too much of my energy into a specific game or, gaming in general, so that I don't get that feeling of burnout, because then what do I do? Like I've got a podcast about video games. If I'm not playing video games, then what am I even doing,
Right.
So, what about you guys? Like, is that something you've experienced?
Yeah,
definitely speak. Yeah, about the. You go first. Yeah.
Well, last week I spoke about that period of time where my roommates were just really awful to me, and it caused me to be over video. Like I was just off video games for 2 or 3 years. 2 years. It was 2 years because then I started. Like the next game I started playing after Portal was Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, that's a big jump. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I was still aware of video games. Like I would occasionally play Left 4 Dead, but like half-heartedly. I would occasionally I would sit and play or two the star bits on Galaxy, but like I wasn't seriously playing anything. I was just like I don't care about video games because I'm just bad at them. And that we talked about that last week. I won't open that can of worms again, but it took a long time before it was after I moved home that I started getting really back into games. And, and believe it or not, it was the Lego Star Wars series that got me back into games, which are amazing. Oh my God, I need to add those to my stream.
I've never spent a considerable amount of time in any of the Lego games, but those are games that Adam's raved about forever.
They are so good. Actually, Paul, they might be multiplayer. We should play those.
I think they are. I think some of them.
I think they're 2-player. Let's set a Parsec and make that happen because I would love them.
Yeah, we could do that.
The Star Wars ones and the Lord of the Rings
ones.
Yeah.
I played all of them up until
Harry Potter. There you
go. The Harry Potter one is actually really good. The Indiana Jones is probably
Harry Potter is fun, but not Lord of the Rings. What the hell are you?
I like Lord of the Rings. I mean Harry Potter. Damn.
It's on tape.
That was a Freudian slip.
Freudian slip.
I like Harry Potter. I do not like Lord of the Rings.
I don't get that. We're not going to go on about this, but I don't understand.
But that literally is the game that brought me back. My wife tried to play the Lego Pirates of the Caribbean with me once and got incredibly frustrated with it. Or I guess we got frustrated with each other because she's never played games in her life. And I'm not very good at games, but she couldn't even remember which character was hers.
Right.
And I constantly felt bad about that. So I would deliberately choose a character who was completely different.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until that point in my life that I was like, oh, Burnout may be over.
Yeah.
It's
started feeling comfortable about it again.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you the last time I burned out on video games, I don't remember what started it, to be honest. But I remember what brought me back, and ironically, it was Destiny.
Of course it was. That's not ironic. That's exactly what everybody expected.
Destiny.
Yeah. So I have a friend that I've never actually met in real life. But I've been friends with him since I was 14 years old. We used to run a Game Boy Advance emulation forum and chat room. And we've been playing games with each other forever. And outside of video games, we call each other on the phone every couple weeks, just to check up on each other and just whatever. So even though we weren't playing, or I wasn't playing video games at all, I was still talking to my homie, and there came a point where I was like, listen, man, I miss playing games with you. We should play a game. You name the game. Doesn't matter what it is. I'll get it and we'll play it. And he was like, right on. Destiny. And I was like, really? God damn it. At the time, I was very anti-Destiny, actually, because I didn't like the Halo games very much.
Fair. Yeah.
The only one I really liked was Reach, which was the last one that Bungie did, actually. But after seeing the trailers for Destiny and then watching the Angry Joe review, I was just like, that game looks terrible. And he's like, no, just get it. We're gonna have fun. I promise. You know me. We've played games with each other forever. We're gonna have fun. Mm-hmm. And so I got it for the Xbox 360, and we started playing Destiny together. And that's what brought me back into gaming.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and that was 6 years ago or whatever.
And you brought up briefly the concept of, as a streamer, it's really hard. If we can't get burnt out, if we're going to continue streaming, we have to be able to, maintain. What do you do to avoid that? I mean, I can talk to what I do too, but
yes.
Well, I mostly keep my gaming to when I'm streaming. And there's a twofold reason for that. Number one, if I was gaming all the time, my wife would murder me.
Yep.
that's the main rule.
That is the big one.
Yeah, that's the big one. But number two, I think that it's good to keep your hobbies in check, and like anything in excess is bad for you.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm definitely the type of person who could get sucked into a game and play that for way too much and then experience burnout and then so on and so forth. So, I try not to play a lot of games outside of my gaming hours, which are typically my streaming hours. With exceptions for sure,
Yeah.
Especially if there's, I've got friends that just want to play a game with me, or if my brother wants to play a game with me and we haven't, done that in a while, we'll schedule a time to, hang out and play video games for a night.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've got a life outside of streaming and outside of gaming. So I just need to keep that in check. And that's actually done a really good job of like mitigating that burnout. So
yeah, that's largely what I do too. I mean, I'm live for games once a week, maybe a little bit more, especially if my wife's out of town, for one reason or another, if she's working late or something like that. But the other thing is my flagship show on my channel is called Zach Sucks at Games, and the original idea was I'm just gonna play games that I'm bad at. And what I realized is I get burnt out on that way too fast. Even
it's frustrating.
Just because it's frustrating, it's not entertaining. So the title of the show has now become ironic, and I'm just playing games that I absolutely adore, or for one reason or another think is going to be great. Outriders, for example. And what I do is like I'll test it on Zach Sucks at Games, and then if it's a good co-op experience like Outriders is, we're just going to move that to Gear Up, and that's going to be our next story game for a while. So it's all about balancing that idea, and then again sticking to my streaming hours being my gaming hours, or I'll grab my Switch and go in the other room, and like my wife will be watching something on her computer or reading a book or something I can play on my Switch. That's fine because I can still hit the pause button and engage. Well,
shoot, man, when I was in California this last week, both my brother and I brought our Switches. And Adam played a little bit on his, but I honestly didn't even pick mine up the entire time I was out there. I watched him play some Zelda. What's funny though about that, and it's probably like some weird like childhood like brainwashing that he did on me. Like I prefer to watch video games over playing them in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
And that comes from years of my brother not letting me play the games and having to only watch him play.
But also him being perfect at them.
He also was really good at video games. I don't think he's as good at them now as he was then, but
still better than me in most cases.
He's still very good at video games. He's very good. So like, I mean, that's something that I think I was conditioned to do at a young age. But yeah. What about you, Josh? How do you mitigate your...
I have experienced the burnout firsthand, harder than a lot of streamers I know, actually. So I went full-time in 2019, and because of this, I literally quit my job for various reasons, and I had enough savings, and I was like, I'm going to go full-time streaming. And I did, and I put everything into it. And that caused this effect where I was only streaming to game. So where you say you only want to stream to game to kind of mitigate your burnout, I was feeling that gaming was becoming a job.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is now like, I feel like if I don't game recreationally, I'm going to hate gaming. So I started putting games in my spare time, and I really loved that. Like, we'd play like something in off time, or I'd play some Donkey Kong. A lot of it was like training for speed runs and shit still, but like, just like do a quick run of Donkey Kong with the camera off. And it's like, it's nice.
Yeah.
When you're literally full-time gaming, you go a little stir crazy, your ass is already numb. And then you're just like, okay, what do I do for recreation? I just game. And so that was really nice. And then I realized once it started getting like intense, and then just gaming in general was starting to become a burnout, you really have to reel it in. you have to play games you love. First of all, like the whole thing about playing games that are undersaturated and just like finding something that gets numbers is so stupid.
I agree.
Especially from a
100%.
streamer's perspective. So stupid. If you're not playing things so I learned like I'm playing things that I only love and like know how to play to I feel comfortable. Like I don't want to play anything that confuses the shit out of me. Or a new game in the genres I love. Like Katana Zero, Celeste, Hollow Knight, and all those things are games that I picked it. Blue Fire, Cuphead. I am going to beat Blue Fire. I just thought about it while you guys were talking. I was like, I think I am going to play it this week. So hopefully, I'll get that review soon. But games that you know you're gonna love, like just be like, okay, let's try that. And, if it sucks, just like erase it. No one's gonna remember that video anyway. But for me, I went full time. I think it was like September 2019, maybe August, and then by January I started the Zelda-thon and the Mario-thon. And I did what I basically was grinding myself out on all my favorite games. And at this point, all of my favorite games are becoming a job for me. And so literally after those games, and I beat all the Mario games, I was like, I was at like the peak of streaming. It was literally the best I'd ever done. I was on top. Animal Crossing came out, and I was feeling really burnt out. And my buddy was like, let's get Animal Crossing, let's just play. And I was like, okay. I thought about streaming it, and I didn't. And I played it for like 5 or 6 hours the first day, and I was just like, that was like so chill. And I think that I needed Animal Crossing, even though now I will say it is a game I got extremely burned out on. I'll come to that in a sec, but like, because everything took so long, it was so monotonous, but it took me out of the intensity of gaming, and it really put me in this mindset like, gaming can be very relaxing and calm, and like it doesn't even have to basically consume your life. It can literally just be in front of you, and you can play, and it doesn't even have. I was like eating a sandwich half the time, or like doing whatever, like working, and like it's just like there on the side. So it was a really nice reprieve. Oh, do you think? But basically, because of Animal Crossing and just needing a relaxation, I pretty much crashed off of streaming, and it like became too much to game all the time. And I literally put like 350 hours into that game, and I didn't stream very much since then. And since then, I've been so on and off. And recently, I've just been like really trying to put my real life into perspective before I do that. And so like getting burnt out did give me the frame of mind of like, okay, how do I like get my life right so I can play games enjoyably? And right now it seems like I can pretty much play them off stream, and it's like, that's how I can do it comfortably and feed it to myself like minutely without it being like you said, like everything in excess.
Right. And
that's the other thing. It felt like I was drowning in that, like in the industry. And I was like, oh, it's so much gaming all the time.
So that's the thing that you said that really like struck a chord with me is the gaming for like essentially clout versus gaming, for things that you enjoy, right? For enjoyment. So that's something that I'm not going to say any names, but there's certain people that have pressured me for a very long time, pretty much since I started streaming, to play certain games, to or not play certain games, to get.
I wonder who that
following.
Could be.
Yeah, and.
I will say I played some of these games that are cloud-based. Like in the beginning, I played Fortnite, and I think it's Geometry Dash is what you want to say. Is that what you're going to say?
That's one of them. That's one of them.
Geometry Dash. Tip alert, everybody. You will lose integrity, and you will not like yourself as much as a person, but you will get a shit ton of followers if you just play level requests on Geometry Dash. It's a bunch of 10-year-old boys that are making levels, and they just want to like fuck with you and troll you. And if you do that game, you'll get a huge boost. And I knew this. A friend told me this, and I played it. And I literally one stream got
Mario Maker
followers.
too.
Mario Maker. So I got like 70 followers in Geometry Dash, and I was like, none of these people ever come to any of my other streams.
Right.
Like none of these people are ever subbing. It's just like a free follow, and I feel like a lot of them are fake accounts because they're like a bunch of tweens. Like it's like the weirdest thing, and it's like not a demographic you want to adhere to. Right. So like for instance, Call of Duty, like or Fortnite, like we could play those, and it's just like these aren't the people I'm trying to grip. Right. These are like not the people I want to entertain. Like it's basically what it is.
I had a customer come into the store yesterday and they were also a Twitch streamer, or I guess a YouTube streamer, and I was like, he's like, oh, I play this and that, and all these games to gain followers, I guess. And I'm like, do you enjoy that? He's like, no. And I'm like, then what are you doing? Like, my philosophy, and I've discussed this with Paul. I don't know if I've ever talked to you about it, Josh, but we stream games that we enjoy. This is something we would do anyway. And I personally just happen to sit here and talk to myself when I play video games. So I was like, why not turn a camera on? I don't care if I'm entertaining other people, but now I have this beautiful backlog of all the games that I've ever loved. It's all archived to my YouTube channel. I can go back and watch those anytime I want. So my philosophy is I'm going to entertain myself first. And if other people want to watch that, awesome. Blink's usually around. RPD's usually around. I have this guy, Captain Kirk, who gifts subs to everybody who follows.
That's great.
Which is great.
I need to
and, like, now I'm making a little bit of money at this, but like that was never my intention.
Yeah.
You know, my intention is to just goof off, have a good time, and entertain myself.
Yeah.
I will say, although that was part of my burnout too, when I was a streamer, is like the realization that I was becoming larger and larger, and like the focus on those aspects and how to maintain it. It like in turn like caused catastrophe. Basically, it's like I was at the height because I was doing so well, because I was loving it, and because it was awesome. And then as a result, you get more notoriety, more subs, more everything. It becomes more worth it. But then the intensity goes up and you're like, okay, but now like it matters. And once it matters, it's like crumbles. It's kind of insane, actually.
Yeah. Like, at some point, all these big streamers are going to burn out. Either they're going to age out of it, or they're going to
age out of it. Yeah. Or crumble.
And what do you have to fall back on? Like when Ninja burns out, what is going to happen?
Millions. He's fine.
Okay, sure. Okay, he's probably set for life. That's a bad example, but like
he doesn't work at Wendy's. Basically, he's not qualified to do anything.
Well, so
you play games. You're not qualified to flip burgers.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point, and that does happen to a lot of them, especially streamers that focus on a single game. You know, that's I can't imagine, honestly. Like, to me, like, if you want to be like a Zelda or a Mario streamer, that makes sense. You can like play only those games, but even still, that's so focused.
That's
like I put myself as a retro streamer and like really just enjoying like playing these old games. There's so many veins to dip into. I feel like that was kind of a comfortability, like creating my own identity in gaming as well. Where like these other people are like, I'm just playing Fortnite. It's like, you're gonna fucking kill yourself in like a week, dude. Like, even if you're winning all the time, like, you're not gonna enjoy that.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe you will if you're winning all the time, but
maybe. But like, it's kind of hollow enjoyment, right?
I can't even play the same Mario game. Like, even if you told me Ocarina of Time is the only game you're gonna stream ever again, like your favorite game, like sweet. Okay, wait. After like the second time in the week, I don't like want to stream it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude,
I'd be like,
nothing has ever.
Yeah, I'd play it once and I'd be like, I don't care anymore.
You're like, I'm done. Let me play it again in 5 months.
Nothing has ever made me like not enjoy myself and feel most uncomfortable on stream than playing a game that I'm not enjoying.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yep.
So I've gotten physically burnt out where I'm like, ugh, this is stupid and I'm not having fun. I've said some stupid ass things on stream because I'm like actually not having fun. And I've said that, and my chat will be like, oh, that sucks, dude. That sucks you're not having fun. And I'm like, this is such childish bullshit right now in my head, but out loud I'm just like, I'm just not, like, I don't even care. I don't want to play this.
Yeah, and how can you be entertaining when you're not?
Yeah, and no one wants to see you cry, like, and be like, "This is stupid." Like, why are you behind the fucking camera?
Yeah,
like, it's so crazy. Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to get angry at a game for like a couple of minutes and then get over it.
Yeah,
but it's quite another to be like, "Oh my god, I got to stream tonight." Ugh.
Yeah,
like,
and that's where it gets. That's where it goes. And like, you're like, okay, 4 hour minimum. When you're like full time, you're going like 8 hours. And you're like running out of games. You're trying to play old games. You're looking for new games. There's so many things. And most of my burnout was related to streaming. I will say it like brought me back to where now a new game comes out. And like I said, I was going to stream Super Mario 3D World before it came out, and I was like, honestly, when it came out, I was like, I just want to play it. Like, I'm just deciding now if the game feels like it. And like, I played the shit out of that game, and you guys didn't see an inch of it because like, I've just been like really enjoying playing it. And sometimes I just want to like get a new game like Yooka-Laylee and just play it on Steam real quick, real quietly, without like having to fucking set up a stream and like committing to playing 4 hours of it straight. It's just like, okay. So I will say, find your identity in gaming and like, go at your own pace, because I'm still feeling the results of like burnout from like last March. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's important to set up boundaries for yourself, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like,
stream schedule is big, but that also killed all of it. Fucked with me.
And I mean, also like find the length of time that you are the most entertaining. We talked about this after Trapped in Arkham. We did a 6 hour Trapped in Arkham on Saturday night or Friday night. And that for more than just this reason, but that was a huge mistake because for the first 2.5 hours, we were wonderfully entertaining. We were ribbing each other. We were just goofing around, and people like clearly our chat was entertained by it. And then at the 3-hour mark, we were like, oh my God, we got another turn.
Yeah.
Oh my God, here we go. We're getting dicked over again. This is terrible. And then again, like, around the 5-hour mark, we started getting giddy. And, it's just like this game is going horribly. Now we're goofy again. But like by then it's too little too late.
And that's the thing. Sometimes I'll play a game that I'm like in love with, and like an 8-hour stream will just go by, and I'll take a break every 2 hours, and I'll be like, "Damn, that was like so good. I kind of want to keep playing." And I'll like do an early morning stream, and like sometimes it just feels so good, and sometimes the game is just like,
right.
I think
when we did Gears 1, that's exactly what happened. Is like Alex and I were totally into it. 9-hour stream, could have gone longer.
Yeah,
and then we were like, oh. We probably shouldn't do that anymore for a myriad of reasons, but like that was fun. Yeah. We had a good time.
Yeah.
But I think that was a fluke,
For me, like my weeknight streams are never more than like 3 hours.
Right.
Because I work in the morning. I work early.
Yeah, exactly.
Same. So I'm not gonna go late. The longest streams I do are on Saturdays, and I pretty much play until I realize that I'm tired of playing, like I don't limit myself to a certain amount of time. I don't, like set goals for a certain amount of time that I'm going to play, because I feel like that kind of puts myself in a box. I just, I start at 10 a.m. and then I go until I'm done. If that's 2 hours, great. If it's 6 hours, great. But like the second that things are starting to slow down for me, or I'm not feeling it anymore, that's it, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna force myself to keep pushing through. Yeah. And like you said, like with Neo 2, when that first dropped, we did like a 8-hour stream,
right.
and didn't even notice it.
Exactly,
like it went by so fast, but like this last weekend I was playing I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, and that's a game that I love, but I got to a certain point where it's like, you know what? I'm done playing for the day. Like I'm really tired, and even though I'm enjoying this game, I kind of want to rest, and if I keep playing, I'm going to not enjoy it anymore. So, so yeah, it was only a few hours long. I think I ended at 1 p.m. right around there. So, still pretty decent stream length, but, just not pushing. And I think that's I don't have any illusions really that I'm going to ever become like a full-time streamer.
Yeah. No,
per se. That's not to say it's not possible, but just with my life the way it is right now, I can't commit the time to that,
Right. Even when you have all the time in the world, it's hard as fuck.
Yeah,
like
of course
seriously,
of course it
was a learning experience.
Yeah.
It's hard as shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. So I would just say that, like, setting boundaries for yourself and sticking to that, is the best way to avoid burnout, period.
Yeah.
And I think we should wrap it up with that. We're actually quite a bit over.
That's a really good closer point. I think that's solid.
We did great, guys.
Everyone have an awesome night. Check out our socials. Let's see here. Boop. Yeah, you know where to find us. Oh, that's the wrong one. Here, let's do podcast. If you're watching us on Twitch right now, you're on my channel. I stream on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Saturday is always a samurai game. We do Samurai Saturdays. If you're watching us on YouTube, please share this with your friends and whoever enjoys video games. Just share it. Comment. We'll talk us up. We'll reply for sure. But if you want to yell at me on Twitter, Ryugami-sama. Also, check out the Discord. We have a pretty fun Discord.
Yeah, we do.
So, and we're very welcoming people. So check us out. And that's about it. Josh, where can we find you, homie?
Lord Yeshua and Lord Yeshua TTV on all my socials. Maybe he'll even stream soon.
Empty threats, Josh.
I know. It really has to be the perfect storm. Like maybe New Zelda. I don't know. Like something like that would maybe. Life is very busy right now. I'm actually starting a new job. I had the first day the other day, and tomorrow is like training for.
Nice.
Cool. Very exciting.
Congrats.
And you can find me on Twitch at Another Letdown. I stream Thursday, Saturday this week. Thursday will be Batman Arkham City, possibly the end of it, and then into side quests, because I always do those last for some reason. And then Saturday will be miniatures painting. I'm working on Joker clowns this week, so on theme for Batman. And then I'm on Twitter occasionally at DENONCZD, but it's more it's easier to find me on Discord.
Cool. Excellent. Thank you guys so much. We will see you next time. Have a good night.
Have a wonderful night.
Bye-bye.